I want to share 3 things that have made me a better consultant over the years. And since there are a lot of consultants in my network and people that follow me on Facebook, I thought I'd share them because it will help you be a better consultant too. I think you might already be doing some of these things, but as I've consulted more and mentored more and coached more in my space, you pick up some things about how to do it better. And we're always trying to, not obviously, but I'm definitely always trying to make things better where I can. So my first one is asking more questions before giving answers. And this took me a while, and sometimes I don't do it perfectly. But, when someone asks me, should I change my logo? Or what do you think of the last piece of content that I made? Or even so much as like, should I change my business model? It's like, I have ideas, of course. Like if I look at the logo and I think maybe I'm not 100% feeling it, it would be easy for me to just say, yeah, you should change your logo. But instead, I do try to have a follow-up question like, what don't you like about it? Or why do you think you should change it? Or is it not giving the feeling that you want? And if they're like, no, then okay, how do you want people to feel? And we kind of break down and find the answer ultimately, because for a long time, I'd get super excited when I'd be talking about something I was really into or passionate about or whatever, like an ad strategy. And I'm like, okay, here's all the stuff we can do for the ad strategy without really understanding what we should be, what they want to do and the goal that we're trying to get to. And so that's why, at least now in a lot of the work that I do, it is very diagnostic and it is very, based on the data we have, and it's based on the outcomes that we want. And that's how I then find the correct answers, if that makes sense. So something that you could definitely try. Second point here was focusing my advice on their direct use case as opposed to giving them all the things that they could do. So I'd watch back my sales calls and I'd watch back sort of my one-to-one calls at times, and I would notice that it's easy for me to start giving them a ton of consultative advice. So I'd look at their site and I just break down all of these things, all the things that could be better, all the ways in which the funnel needs to be optimized, all the things that they need to do in their ads and the way they need to change their messaging and their copy and why their content's not converting and why their creative direction is not working and why their photos could be better and the stock that they're using. Like the list goes on and on and on when you're talking about like brand and digital and ads and funnel optimization and all the things that people come to me to talk to them about. But what I've noticed is like, if you give someone too much information, you actually lose them and they do nothing, right? And so one thing that I've been working on in the last couple of years is like, how do we just focus on what's most important now? How do I just give the advice that is most needed today for where they need to go? And I've realized when people do that with me that it's really awesome. Like I was getting some sales consulting and we were listening to some calls and he just said, hey, here's a couple of things that you could do. Way more helpful than giving someone all the things that they need to do or all the things that they could do. And whether or not it's just in a phone call with me that I'm just doing because I feel like it, or whether it's in a paid conversation, or whether it's in a Q&A, in a speaking engagement or whatever, I've had to rein myself back because ultimately it's about them, and you have to be aware of that moment when the person starts to feel like, okay, something clicked, or I got it, or you can see the spark in their eyes of motivation. You can see that turning point. Okay, I get it. I see it. This is what I need to change. This is what I'm going to do. This is my next step forward. Then you have to stop. So, and then another issues will come up and they'll come back to you to talk about more stuff. But that's my second point, is like, if you go on too long, you start to see the eyes glaze over, you start to see the confusion set back in, you start to see that they are not taking action. And I learned this just from doing a number of calls and again, listening back and making a commitment to myself that I want people to leave calls with me feeling good about where they're going. not more confused. Because sometimes I'm on the call and then we get to a point of clarity and they're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to start making this kind of content. I understand what kind of stories I should be telling. I understand where the brand needs to shift in order for me to hit this next goal. Then we keep talking and talking and talking. And by the end of the call, they're like, I'm confused again. What should I do? Where should I go? What's my next move? So when you hit that point with someone, like if you're in a consultative or coaching or mentorship business and you hit that point with someone where they've got that spark in their eye of excitement and this is your next action, you can end the call, honestly. Like, even if you have more time set on the calendar, I have said before, honestly, I think we're good here. I think you should go do this. I know we've got more time left. We can pick it up on the next one. And my last point here is making sure that I'm solving higher value problems than just their immediate question or situation. So the example that I was thinking of here is, if they're running ads and they want me to look at the ads and I'm like, okay, they might say, should I raise the budget? So I can look and say, yes, raise the budget, or no, don't raise the budget. But the higher value problem, the higher value thing that I'm ultimately trying to solve for them is like, how do these ads work better? Because if I look at the other data, the click-through rates, the cost per click, the engagement or whatever I'm using ads as an example, there may be something else entirely that is really the thing that needs to be solved. Hence, coming back to my first point about asking more questions instead of just giving answers, because you may not have the right thing that you're fixing at all, right? And so I was even on a call with someone yesterday, and he was saying, like, we were talking about sort of the brand work that should be done and doing a brand meeting and getting clear on what the positioning is and all those things. And he was kind of feeling like, yes, I know I need to do this, but he's also running ads at the same time. He's like, or should I just put more money into ads? And I'm like, do not put more money into ads. Because if you put more money into ads with a brand that's broken, it's just going to lose you more money in the long run, So when it comes to being a better consultant, what I've realized is that you need to get into the deeper root of the situation. And if someone is asking you for a specific thing, again, kind of like the first about asking more questions, really making sure you're solving the highest level problem possible for them so that they can knock that one thing out and it affects all the other things that they're doing. All right, hopefully this was helpful for the other people who also work in my space, and I'll see you in another one.